Harry Potter is weird, and I've spent way too much of my life thinking about it. So today, I'm going to be completely breaking down the first movie, The Sorcerer's Stone. Before we start, I will not be going over the obvious things, mainly plot details or things that have been completely over-examined to death, unless something isn't explained well or causes confusion. Let's hop straight into it. We open with Dumbledore outside of Privet Drive. He's putting out the street lights with his Deluminator, also known as the Put-Outer, an invention he came up with that puts out and stores nearby lights. The Deluminator comes back as a gift from Dumbledore's will to Ron Weasley in the Deathly Hallows. All the houses on Privet Drive are meant to look exactly the same. The Dursleys need conformity, so living in a town where no one is different from each other is what they strive for.
I should have known that you would be here, Professor McGonagall.
Well, I'd hope so. She's been missing from your school all day, apparently. Dumbledore says this like he didn't know McGonagall was watching Harry all day, like it wasn't his orders or something. She also says,
"Are the rumors true, Albus?"
I'm afraid so, Professor.
"Girl, what rock are you living under? The wizards have been partying all day and night." I guess you missed that because you were stalking Vernon all day. Hagrid comes rolling in on Sirius Black's old motorbike. The bike belonged to Sirius before he went off to Azkaban. This is something that's briefly mentioned in the books 2 full years before Sirius Black is mentioned again. The letter that Dumbledore leaves on the doorstep with Harry mainly explains how Harry has to live with the Dursleys and they have to take care of him. It's not explicitly said in the book, but we find out in Order of the Phoenix that the letter mentions that Harry must return every year and call Privet Drive his home in order to keep Lily's sacrificial protection alive. It's been explained like a million times, but for the one person who doesn't know, the titles slowly get darker over the course of the 8 films. This will be the one and only time I mention it, so you're free from that now.
Why don't you just cook the breakfast and try not to burn anything?
If you look closely, you'll realize that there are no pictures of Harry up on display. Just Dudley. Just for fun, here's the first floor layout of Privet Drive. The interior actually never changes throughout the film, surprisingly. Now, that can't be said about the exterior, but we'll get to that in the next video. We've got the main walkway, and then the stairs are on the right, and that's also where Harry's cupboard is. Through the doors straight ahead, it leads to the kitchens, which is then also connected to the living room, which we kind of get a good grasp of in this film, but also we get a really good grasp in Prisoner of Azkaban. That dining room is then also connected to the living room, which is where the other door in the main hallway goes. Hopefully that layout helped. Let's keep going. Here, we can see Harry's clothes being a little bit too big on him. This is because he's only ever given hand-me-downs from Dudley and never actually has his own clothes. This is why his jacket's really long and his belt is barely holding up his oversized pants.
Wake up, cousin! We're going to the zoo!
Moving to the zoo, there's a gorilla statue outside the reptile house. That's a little weird. The snake is from Burma, but in the books it's actually from Brazil.
Thanks.
Anytime.
They also come to the zoo with one of Dudley's friends, Piers. He shows up again in the later books.
No more mail through this letterbox.
Here we see Harry playing with some toys in the cupboard. That's a nice callback to in Deathly Hallows when Harry looks at it again and picks up the toys.
We're going away! Far away!
Once Harry gets all of his letters, the Dursleys flee to a remote island. In the books, on their way there, they stop at a motel. And yes, they actually do go to a remote island and take a boat. Harry's birthday is July 31st. We'll get to that in a second.
Sorry about that.
Hagrid knocks down the door like an animal and then whips out his wand umbrella. He stashes his wand inside the umbrella because he's not allowed to do magic anymore after being expelled from Hogwarts in his 2nd year.
I'd appreciate it if you didn't tell anyone at Hogwarts about that. Strictly speaking, I'm not allowed to do magic.
We find out why he got expelled in the Chamber of Secrets because he was framed for opening the Chamber of Secrets. Ah, ugly Hagrid.
Dry up, Dursley, you great prune.
Vernon was really just about to shoot Hagrid right then and there. In the books, they spend the night here and then leave in the morning.
Unless you'd rather stay, of course.
The sign for the leaky cauldron appears in front of the building. Similar to other wizarding buildings, a lot of the magic is concealed from the muggles, which is why a wizard can see it when they get close enough. The Leaky Cauldron changes designs twice. Here's where we see what it looks like in this movie, but then it also is changed in The Prisoner of Azkaban. The interior stays largely the same. The Leaky Cauldron actually only changes in one area, and that's that the bar is on both the left and the right, where in the later movies it is only on the left. Here is Tom the bartender, and this is what he looks like in Prisoner of Azkaban. That must have been a rough 2 years. I don't know why they changed the design, but the first one we see is more accurate to the books. Hagrid says the line,
But why am I famous, Hagrid? All those people back there. How is it they know who I am?
I'm not sure I'm exactly the right person to tell you that, Harry.
in response to why Harry's famous.
That's why you're famous. That's why everybody knows your name.
That didn't even last an hour.
Welcome, Harry, to Diagon Alley.
Are you ready for the speed breakdown of Diagon Alley? Here we go. Right away, we see the Flourish and Blotts sign on the far right. In the next movie, when we see Flourish and Blotts, it's actually in a different location. Florine Fortescue's ice cream parlor is next to that on the right. We know this because of the colors and the ice cream. There's a Madame Malkin's bag, and the shop is right next to it. Quality Quidditch Supplies is on the right. The owls there are from Ilop's Owl Emporium. Two signs get cut off behind the owl in this shot. We see Magic cut off and cut off Airy. My assumption is that it's Slug and Jitter's Apothecary with the airy at the end, and the other one would be Magical Menagerie.
Well, there's your money, Harry. Gringotts, the Wizard Bank.
Vault 687.
The goblin that takes them to their vault is named Griphook. He isn't mentioned by name in this film, but later comes back in Deathly Hallows with a new look. Many may be wondering how Harry got all of his gold. After the series, Rowling revealed that James Potter's father, Fleamont Potter, heavily invested in the company Slick Easy's hair potion. Once he retired, he sold the company and made a ton of money. This parallels how Harry's hair is always messy, which is why they needed to create the hair solution. Daily Prophet sign seen above? We see them leaving Madame Malkin's. We know this because of its location across from Florine Fortescue's, as well as from the color. In the books, Harry first meets Draco Malfoy in Madame Malkin's as they're fitted for their Hogwarts robes. Harry gets a bad impression of Malfoy and the Slytherins, which is why he is so keen on not being Slytherin. Moving into Ollivanders, Ollivander brings up the tail feather of the wand and how it shares the same phoenix as Voldemort's wand.
It so happens that the phoenix, whose tail feather resides in your wand, gave another feather. Just one other.
Again, something not explained in the films, but the tail feather is from Fawkes the Phoenix, which is Dumbledore's phoenix that we see in his office.
Fawkes is a phoenix, Harry. Fascinating creatures, phoenixes.
Since they share the same wand core, the wands collide like we see in Goblet of Fire. Little retcon issue is that they changed the Godric's Hollow look in this film compared to when we see it in Deathly Hallows. The flashback confuses me a little bit because we see Lily call out for James, at least I think that's what she's doing, but in Snape's memory, which we see in Deathly Hallows, we see James die on the stairs before Voldemort gets into the bedroom. We also see Voldemort turn around for a brief moment. I don't know why that's happening, because there should be nothing behind him currently besides dead James Potter. Last little detail I like is that the shape of Harry's scar is what the wand movement of the Killing Curse looks like. We also don't find out the Killing Curse's name is called Avada Kedavra until the fourth movie.
What are you looking at?
Just before they go off to Hogwarts, the film makes us assume that this is the same day or a day later, after the visit to Diagon Alley. In the books, however, Hagrid picks up Harry on his birthday, July 31st, spends the day with him shopping at Diagon Alley, and then drops him off back at Privet Drive for the next month until September 1st, the first day of term.
Stick to your chicken.
Platform 9? But Hagrid, there must be a mistake. This is platform 9 and 3/4. There's no such thing, is there?
It's weird when Hagrid disappears in King's Cross Station because we later find out that Hagrid isn't allowed to do magic and can't apparate. However, if we give him the benefit of the doubt, apparating still makes a loud cracking noise. so it still can't work. He must have just ran away or something. I want to show you the layout of King's Cross Station. The layout doesn't fully match up with the platforms, but first, Harry and Hagrid must have either entered here from the main entrance or here from the side entrance. Then, they walked across this bridge at the top. It really makes no sense for both the location and direction that they're going, because then Harry ends up on the middle platform. At the real King's Cross, this is not platform 9 and 10. It is 4 and 5, but the films just go with it. The 3/4 part of it means how far up the platform they are. So they are halfway between 9 and 10, and then they're 3/4 down the platform.
Excuse me. Do you mind? Everywhere else is full. Not at all.
Harry's pretty selfish for hoarding this cabin all to himself. I like the detail that Harry's bangs usually reveal his scar on his forehead, but when he meets the Weasleys, it's actually being covered. This then pays off later when Ron didn't know that there was Harry, and then he reveals his scar.
Holy cricket! You're Harry Potter!
You can actually barely see Nicholas Flamel's name on the chocolate frog here at the beginning of the movie. It's revealed later that this is where the two recognize the name.
I knew the name sounded familiar. I read it on the train that day. For example, Oculus Reparo.
How fast did Ron stuff that brownie in his mouth? The scene runs in real time, and we don't even see him holding one here. Also, why does Ron have dirt on his nose? I know he could have been doing anything before this, but it just feels like a weird detail to have. Maybe it's flu powder?
Diagon Alley.
The first years arrive in bland roads with no house symbol on them because they haven't been sorted yet. I really like that detail.
Right then, this way to the boats. Come on now, follow me.
First years make their way up to Hogwarts by going on the boats. The other later years arrive in the horseless carriages that we later see in Prisoner of Azkaban and mainly in Order of the Phoenix. I will now be breaking down the design and floor plan of Hogwarts because that is my speciality. Specialty? Bam, full layout. First thing I have to say is that Hogwarts changes in almost every film. So I'll point out the things that are of note here, and then in the later videos, I'll point out the new things that change. The Great Hall is the farthest left, connecting to the entrance hall and the Grand Staircase Tower. You can also see the staircase leading up from the boathouse. The boathouse is where the first years arrive, but also where Snape dies in Deathly Hallows. So again, next to the Great Hall and entrance hall is the Grand Staircase Tower, and inside is the Grand Staircase. This large tower is then connected to the area they call the Quad. The Quad is mainly known for having a lot of classrooms, but then also Gryffindor Common Room and the hospital wing. The Quad is called the Quad because it's got the courtyard in the center of it surrounded by the 4 walls of Hogwarts. This area is also called the West Wing. Connected to the West Wing and Quad are 2 bridges. There's also a bridge connecting the Great Hall to the Viaduct. Talking about the Viaduct, that will be the next area. This is another one of the main entrance hall areas. This area is called the East Wing. It is a large bulk of Hogwarts. It's connected to the central tower that's hanging above it, as well as the bell towers out the back. Right above this area is the Transfiguration Courtyard and the Transfiguration area. In the Transfiguration Courtyard is the Astronomy Tower, where in this movie it looks like this, and it will change multiple times throughout all the movies. We also never see the greenhouses in this movie, but we do see like the wall around the greenhouses, so maybe we're supposed to assume they're there. You could say whatever you want. Lastly, there's this training grounds area in the very back, which is where they practice flying lessons and where Harry learns how to play Quidditch. Near this training grounds area, there's this other exit or entrance out of Hogwarts, which we will note later. In the first 3 to 4 films, there's this diagonal area of Hogwarts. We largely see it here, and it really fills up a lot of the area. This area is actually fully removed in later films. Not many people notice, but it would be around right here. To finish this off, there's no owlry yet, which we see in the later movies, and there's no courtyard and long wooden bridge. That all arrives in Prisoner of Azkaban. Just before we move on, I want to note that we usually know around where classrooms are in Hogwarts, but since Hogwarts is a design and not everything technically fits in it in the movies, the layout does not fully match. The castle was more focused on design rather than functionality. Take for example, the Grand Staircase. Remember it's in this tower and it's only connected to the Quad. Using Grand Staircase knowledge and looking at this map, the doors from the Grand Staircase go off in every direction. But if we look closely, you can really only walk in one area out of the grand staircase, and that is to the quad. So again, not everything fully fits into Hogwarts, and I'll let you know when that happens. We're finally moving on, and we're back to the breakdown. Look at this flood of first years that enter the entrance hall compared to the amount sorted in the Great Hall. Number of kids wise, that doesn't really add up. The house points counter is behind the staff table in the Great Hall.
Hermione Granger?
Hermione's name is called first for the sorting ceremony, but in actuality they go in alphabetical order. Susan Bones comes up later down the line, even though she would have gone before Hermione. The first person to be sorted in the books out of that first year class is actually Hannah Abbott. Something I noticed recently is that after Harry gets sorted, he sits on the right side of the Gryffindor table next to Ron and the Weasley twins. The next time we see him, he's sitting on the opposite side of the table next to Percy and Hermione. Don't know why they messed that one up. The African woman sitting next to Dumbledore is supposed to be Professor Sinestra, the astronomy teacher. The subject is never actually brought up in the movies, but they have classes for it in the books.
This is the most direct path to the dormitories. Oh, and keep an eye on the staircases. They like to change.
The kids are actually coming from the correct direction, surprisingly, seeing as the Great Hall is on the left of the grand staircase. But I'm not done with this scene just yet, because everyone was just eating a feast in the Great Hall. But for some reason, students are coming in from a different direction than where Harry and Ron are coming from. Were they not just at the Great Hall feast?
Password.
Caput Draconis.
If you want to know where the Gryffindor Tower and Common Room are, it is on this corner of the quad in the West Wing. Going back to the map, here's the quad and here's the Common Room. This is where Harry's dorm is and the window he's looking out of.
Can you imagine the look on McGonagall's face if we were late? That was bloody brilliant.
Did the whole class sit down and start taking notes, and then McGonagall realized Harry and Ron were going to be late? Because otherwise there should be no reason why she transfigures into a cat. McGonagall is what's called an animagus. That's why she can turn into a cat. I'll speak more on that when we get to Prisoner of Azkaban. In potions class, Snape asks,
Asphodel and wormwood make a sleeping potion so powerful it is known as the Draught of the Living Dead. A bezoar is a stone taken from the stomach of a goat and it will save you from most poisons.
This conversation foreshadows Harry using a bezoar in Half-Blood Prince.
Come on, Ron, breathe.
Quick thinking on your part, Harry, using a bezoar.
Yes, that stone is a bezoar which he saves Ron with. Nice callback. The Draught of Living Dead as well is also the potion they are making in the first potions class of Half-Blood Prince. We can see the ceiling of the Great Hall when the owls arrive, but at the beginning of when they enter Hogwarts, it's mentioned that the ceiling is supposed to depict the weather outside.
It's not real, the ceiling. It's just bewitched to look like the night sky.
Look, Neville's got a remembrall.
I've read about those. When the smoke turns red, it means you've forgotten something.
The only problem is, I can't remember what I've forgotten.
In this scene, Neville probably forgot his cloak because he's the only one in the Great Hall not wearing one.
Can I borrow this? Thanks.
The date on this Daily Prophet paper is Friday, August 14th. But as I mentioned earlier, the start of term is September 1st, which means they went to Diagon Alley at the end of July. This paper was created 2 weeks later on August 14th, and is only being delivered now in early September.
Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon, Madam Hooch.
Welcome to your first flying lesson.
Madam Hooch has yellow eyes because of her hawk-like vision, probably for being a Quidditch referee. Another note is that her tie has all the Hogwarts houses on it, because it is never confirmed which house she is actually in. My vote's on Ravenclaw.
Harry Potter? Follow me.
How fast is McGonagall because she watches Harry catch the Remembrall while in her office in a tower. We then watch Harry glide back down, everyone cheers for him, and when McGonagall arrives, they're all still cheering. Here, we see Professor Quirrell teaching defense against the dark arts.
Professor Quirrell, excuse me. Could I borrow wood for a moment, please?
The room is changed to its normal design in the next film. An interesting detail about Quirrell is that he taught Muggle studies before teaching defense against the dark arts. Since the job has a curse on it, this has to be his first year teaching defense against the dark arts.
Thought you ought to know.
I'll get back to that curse when we reach Half-Blood Prince.
Whoa. Harry, you never told me your father was a seeker too.
James actually wasn't a seeker. He was just known for always carrying around a snitch. He was actually a chaser. We can also see the name of McGonagall on the right, but that is probably just one of the professor's descendants and not her herself, because she would have been a teacher at this time. Behind the main award, we see for special services to Hogwarts. This is in reference to when Tom Riddle won an award for services to the school. This is a plot point brought up in Chamber of Secrets. He was awarded this for finding out Hagrid opened the Chamber of Secrets. Ron later has to clean this during a detention, which is why they know of Tom Riddle's name.
Let's go this way. Before the staircase moves again.
What's interesting is that the trio goes through this door and arrives in the off-limits third floor corridor. It's funny because we see students leaving through this door in the first shot we get of the grand staircase. And does this hallway always have cobwebs and looked abandoned? Because you'd assume that this was the first year it was off-limits, because this is the first year that the Sorcerer's Stone is kept in Hogwarts. I think that's supposed to be the statue of the One-Eyed Witch, also known as Gunhilda de Gorsmore. There is a secret passage behind the statue that is used to go from Hogwarts to Hogsmeade, which she uses in Prisoner. Hermione's iconic line says,
Now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed. Or worse, expelled.
The problem is that no one came up with that idea. If anything, Hermione's the one who unlocked the door. She also told them that it was standing on the trapdoor guarding something.
We're done for.
Oh, move over! Hello, Hamora.
It seems that the only person coming up with ideas is Hermione.
Quidditch is easy enough to understand. Each team has 7 players, 3 chasers, 2 beaters, 1 keeper, and the seeker. That's you.
You catch this, the game's over. You catch this, Potter, and we win.
For a few rules that are never explained about Quidditch and people never seem to understand, the snitch is worth 150 points and ends the game. It doesn't guarantee a win. For example, let's say Slytherin is at 160 points and Gryffindor is at 0. If Harry catches the snitch now, the final score will be 160 Slytherin to 150 Gryffindor. No matter what, someone has to catch the snitch to end the game. You may be thinking, well, this point system is unfair. Quite frankly it is, but it also isn't. Hogwarts is set up that depending on how many points you score against the other 3 houses throughout the year, determine if you win the Quidditch Cup. You could technically lose all 3 games, but still win the cup at the end of the year if you had enough points. The question arises when it comes to international play and how something like the Quidditch World Cup only gets awarded based off of winning rather than the points. More Quidditch talk will come when it's needed.
One of the wizard's most rudimentary skills is levitation.
This is Professor Flitwick teaching charms, who is later de-aged in the next films. This is the outdoor quad area, but it's also used for multiple areas in this film. But later it is used right outside the entrance to the training grounds with Hagrid.
Where's Hermione? Fatty Patel said that she wouldn't come out of the girls' bathroom. She said that she'd been in there all afternoon, crying.
Neville mentions Parvati Patil, who never physically appears in the films until Goblet of Fire, when she's Harry's date to the Yule Ball. She and Lavender Brown are the 2 other main Gryffindor girls who are only ever brought up later in the books, but those 2 along with Hermione are the 3 we know of.
In the dungeon! Troll in the dungeon!
Prefects will lead their house back to the dormitories. Teachers will follow me to the dungeons.
In hindsight, wouldn't it have been a lot smarter to keep all the students in the Great Hall while the teachers go out and look for the troll? It's a lot safer than having the kids roam the corridors back to their dormitories.
Good for you to get us out of trouble like that.
Mind you, we did save her life.
Mind you, she might not have needed saving if you hadn't insulted her.
This is the same corridor they used for the Gryffindor common room entrance. I have a statement followed by a question. First, we watch the troll walk straight into the bathroom, but then when Harry and Ron arrive, there's a long hallway straight behind them. This hallway wouldn't make sense in the context of the layout. The question is how that troll got through the door that's then closed behind him.
Good luck today, Potter. Then again, now that you've proven yourself against a troll, a little game of Quidditch should be easy work for you. Even if it is against Slytherin.
In what world would Snape willingly walk up to Harry and wish him good luck, much less before a match against Slytherin?
Bit early for mail, isn't it?
Actually, one of my more minor nitpicks, but clearly that's a broomstick, right? And we see Oliver Wood, the Gryffindor Quidditch captain, sitting right down the table from Harry. As we later find out, Quidditch and winning is all Oliver Wood cares about. So why when Harry receives an obviously broom-shaped package does Oliver go in for another bite of his food? He should be going feral right now. We see him in the next shot with his mouth wide open, so maybe he's just stupid and didn't realize it was a broom. It's a nice detail that the rest of the team has beaten up brooms and then Harry got his Nimbus 2000. McGonagall doesn't have the funds to have multiple favorite Gryffindors.
Hello and welcome to Hogwarts' first Quidditch game of the season. Today's game, Slytherin versus Gryffindor.
Lee Jordan is the announcer for the Hogwarts Quidditch games. He's Fred and George Weasley's best friend. I think he's only in this movie, but he's pretty much in every book. The Gryffindor team consists of Oliver Wood as Seeker, Fred and George as the Beaters, and Katie Bell, Angelina Johnson, and Alicia Spinnet as Chasers. Those three are recast as the films progress, but Katie Bell is the girl that's lifted up into the air in Half-Blood Prince, Angelina Johnson goes to the Yule Ball with Fred, and Alicia Spinnet has no plot in the film, but has minor roles in the books.
It's Snape! He's jinxing the broom! Jinxing the broom?
I'm not saying it's impossible, but for Hermione to have looked across the field at Snape, run around the whole pitch, and climb the tower, she would have had to have insane speed, because how did Harry not fall off that broom in that amount of time? Overall, the Quidditch pitch is correctly orientated throughout that whole scene. That surprised me, I'll give him credit. A difference in this movie with the Quidditch pitch is that there's no underground area that surrounds the pitch, which we see in the next film with Harry and Draco. The trio and Hagrid are seen walking out of Hogwarts and the training grounds area towards the forest in Hagrid's hut. This exterior is the opposite of this shot from earlier.
Happy Christmas, Harry.
Happy Christmas, Ron. What are you wearing?
Oh, Mum made it. Looks like you got one too.
I've got presents.
It's Christmas. This movie's a Christmas movie. It's confirmed. Hagrid's dragging this tree in through the quad area and into the diagonal bit of Hogwarts. This piece of the building is the same exterior part they used later. As I said before, this area changes a few times and they didn't quite know what they were doing with it yet. Did the teachers forget they can do magic or something? Because why are they making poor old Hagrid drag the tree in when they know that he can't do magic? Ron starts eating some Bertie Bott's every flavored bean, which Dumbledore tries later. This will be brought up in Deathly Hallows, but the invisibility cloak Harry receives on his birthday is the Deathly Hallow, even though there are many invisibility cloaks in the world.
I know what that is. That's an invisibility cloak. I'm invisible. It's really rare.
Again, I'll get to that in Deathly Hallows. I guess they never explain this in the movie, but this is what the Mirror of Eris had said. And when flipped, it reads, "I show not your face, but your heart's desire." Dumbledore says that
men have wasted away in front of it, even gone mad.
He's talking about himself, which we see in the Fantastic Beasts films.
That is why tomorrow it will be moved to a new home.
Tell me this. You get the stone by looking into the mirror, wanting it, but not wanting to use it. So what has Fluffy and the trap door been guarding this whole term so far? We know Quirrell tries to sneak down there while the troll is roaming around, but at this time, there would be nothing down there. The stone and the mirror are up here. I don't really understand that bit. Harry and Hedwig are in the Transfiguration courtyard, and then we get a few lovely shots of Hogwarts.
I found him! Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the Dark Wizard Grindelwald in 1945.
Go on.
for his discovery of the 12 uses of dragon blood and his work on alchemy with his partner Nicholas Flamel.
Here's where we find out that Flamel is on the back of Dumbledore's chocolate frog card. It's funny how Nicholas Flamel is famous enough to be on Dumbledore's chocolate frog card, one of the most common chocolate frog cards there is, because Ron says he has 1 million of them.
I got about 6 of him.
But not famous enough to be in his own card or be in any of the textbooks in the library? Hermione says,
Of course, here it is. Nicholas Flamel is the only known maker of the Sorcerer's Stone.
What?
Honestly, don't you two read?
After mentioning the Sorcerer's Stone, but somehow didn't know that Flamel is the only known maker of it? Make that make sense. Hagrid's hut actually changes locations a bit. In this movie, and I'm pretty sure the second one as well, it's right outside the training grounds. For reference, around here. But in the later movies, it's moved to across the wooden bridge, which is first in Prisoner of Azkaban. In the books, we actually find out that Norbert, the Norwegian Ridgeback, is actually a female. They later name her Roberta.
Therefore, as punishment for your actions, 50 points will be taken.
50?
Each. And to ensure it doesn't happen again, all 4 of you will receive detention.
I get that the trio is out after hours, but they legit have Hagrid. Does that really call for a detention? Just ask Hagrid why they were out there, and he can make an excuse for them.
Mental, that one. I'm telling you.
McGonagall is clearly very relaxed with the rules, because earlier, Harry breaks a rule that Madame Hooch says would get you kicked out of Hogwarts if you start flying when she's not there. And McGonagall just lets it off, hey, you're on the Quidditch team. Then, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are found with a deadly troll. Again, told to go back to their common room. Hermione gets 5 points taken, and Ron and Harry gain 10 points? And then we're here, and they're out after hours, sure, fine, whatever. But Hagrid is with them. And then they lose 150 points. I can't. And one last thing, because this is still annoying me, is that Harry, Ron, and Hermione all lose 50 points each for being out of bed at detention. Again, arguably, I don't know how this is much worse than anything else, but they lose 150 points total. They then save the Sorcerer's Stone, and for that only gain 160 points total? You're telling me that saving the Sorcerer's Stone, arguably stopping Voldemort from coming back, is the same level of good versus bad about being out at night? This point system is whack.
She needs to sort out her priorities.
I haven't even mentioned how she then sends them into the forest at night, may I add, the place where there's killer spiders, centaurs, and everything under the sun. To stop you from breaking the rules, you'll break the rule by being out of bed at night, and you'll break the rule of going into the Forbidden Forest. Oh, and I'll take 150 points from your house while I'm at it. Bro, I'd murder McGonagall on the spot. At least you get another great view of Hogwarts.
Harry, you'll go with Malfoy.
Okay, then I get Fang.
Hagrid's not even stupid enough to send Harry, Malfoy, and Fang off by themselves in the Forbidden Forest. What are these detentions? Because in the rest of the years, it's just doing work with a teacher for a few hours after class. The hooded figure in the woods is obviously Voldemort, which they mention, but they make it seem like it's a ghostly version of himself. It is supposed to actually be Quirrell under that hood, drinking the blood, so if that caused any confusion, there you go.
Hello there, Firenze. See, you've met our young Mr. Potter.
The centaur's name is Firenze, and this actually isn't the only time he is mentioned. Well, it is if you're only talking the movies. You won't believe me if you haven't read the books, but in Order of the Phoenix, when Professor Trelawney is fired by Umbridge, yeah, that scene, Firenze takes her spot as the divination teacher. For the years after, they have 2 divination teachers.
Don't you see? We had it wrong. Snape doesn't want the stone for himself. He wants the stone for Voldemort.
So they think the person trying to steal the Sorcerer's Stone was Snape, even though they just saw a hooded Voldemort in the woods drinking the unicorn blood, trying to keep himself alive. Couldn't it just be Voldemort trying to get the stone?
Hagrid, who gave you the dragon egg?
We hear Hagrid playing Hedwig's theme on the flute.
I remember reading something in herbology. Devil snare, devil snare. It's deadly fun, but will sulk in the sun. That's it. Devil snare hates sunlight.
From a storytelling perspective, having Devil's Snare and then mentioning herbology isn't very smart because they didn't introduce either of them in this film.
Harry, it's you that has to go on. I know it. Not me, not Hermione, you.
Wow, Ron, really giving Hermione no credit here. Even you know Hermione has a better chance of getting that stone against Harry, who hasn't casted a spell this entire movie. Yeah, that's right. Harry doesn't cast a single spell throughout this movie with a wand. A few things I have to mention about the tasks before we get to the end is in the books, there's actually 2 more tasks that we never get to see. The first of the 2 that we don't see is when they come across a room with a knocked out troll in it. This is because Quirrell came through already and defeated it. This room doesn't reset, but the chess piece and the potions room and everything else does reset. I don't know why this is the one room that doesn't reset, but... The second room, which happens to be the second to last task, is the potions riddle. The riddle forces Hermione and Harry to drink the potions and only one of them can move on. Hermione opts to stay back and let Harry move forward, and that's why she isn't with him there in the end, not because she stays with Ron. Last thing is that each task was designed by a different teacher. The first obstacle was Fluffy, set there by Hagrid. The second was the Devil Snare grown by Pomona Sprout, the herbology teacher. The third was the winged keys designed by Flitwick, the charms professor. The fourth was the chessboard. This one belonged to McGonagall. Fifth was the knocked out troll by Professor Quirrell. Sixth was the potions riddle designed by Snape. Last was the Mirror of Erised, which the idea came from Dumbledore. Quite cool when you think about it.
You? No, it can't be. Snape, he was the...
Yes.
We finally meet Quirrell in the room with the Mirror of Erised. He takes off his turban and then... You had one job. Why does he have a nose? I'll explain why Quirrell turns into dust in 1 second, but I gotta let Voldemort finish his monologue explaining why it isn't Snape and how everything that happened so far has been because of Quirrell.
What is this magic?
Quirrell says this even though when he first meets Harry at the beginning of the film, he knows not to touch him. Here, Harry is in the hospital wing. The hospital wing is this little room at the top of the quad. It's one of the few rooms that actually line up with the castle's exterior. Weird how both Ron and Harry were knocked unconscious, yet in the morning only Harry is still in the hospital wing. Now for the explanation I promised you. Dumbledore kind of explains it, but I always found it kind of confusing and never fully understood it until I read the books. The reason Quirrell turns into dust goes back to the beginning when Lily sacrifices herself for Harry. It is also why he survives. Dumbledore claims that it's ancient magic, and that magic is love. Harry survives the killing curse because Lily sacrifices herself out of love. This love protection saves Harry from any harm being done to him by Voldemort. This means that Voldemort can't touch him, so when he does, as we saw, he evaporates. This idea is a main plot point in the books. For example, when Voldemort comes back to life in Goblet of Fire, he says,
I can touch you. Now.
Since he put the blood of Harry into the potion to resurrect himself, that blood love is now inside of him, which allows him to now touch Harry. I'll go more in depth as the series progresses, but that's the basics for now.
Ah, Bertie Bott's every flavor beans. I was most unfortunate in my youth to come across a vomit-flavored one.
There's Dumbledore popping in the Bertie Bott's bean. I don't understand why they're doing the ceremony to award the House Cup when they already have banners above their heads to show the school which house won.
Gryffindor wins the House Cup.
I'd be pissed too. No wonder all the Slytherins turned out evil. To this day, Dumbledore is still the most devious man on the planet, not because he set Harry up for death, but because he perfectly calculated the exact number of points Gryffindor needed to beat Slytherin and win the House Cup.
Never insult Albus Dumbledore in front of me.
And then they hit us with this banger song to end the film. In the credits, 2 actors are credited for playing Voldemort. First, we see Richard Bremer for being the cloaked Voldemort in the flashbacks. He is credited as He Who Must Not Be Named. And for the second Voldemort, it is Ian Hart who is credited for being on the back of Quirrell's head. Just to end out the video with a final note, they change where Hogsmeade Station is and how it looks a few times. but I guess you'll just have to wait for the next video. Gotcha, you're hooked, it's me and you now. If you enjoyed this breakdown so far, I have more on the way soon. It's been a blast getting to rewatch these movies and talk to you about Harry Potter. As you can see, I've kind of got an obsession. I would love for you to comment which detail was your favorite and which Harry Potter movie you're most excited to see me break down. Hopefully I'll get these things rolling out so you guys don't have to wait that long. It's quite fun for me to rewatch these movies like 2 or 3 times. But with all that out of the way, I've been the Wizard Project. Thanks for watching. What's back on?